Alrighty. So yeah, I will go ahead and start with this. I grew up in a really small town on the Illinois side over here called Coal City. I don't know if you've ever heard of Coal City. I know one of my friends used
That's
to work for the railroad.
it's over by Joliet, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I always like to say Joliet so that way everyone kind of knows where it's at. But do
Yeah,
you
oh
know?
yeah, we went to Coal City a few times for lunch and whatnot.
Okay, so yeah, like Morris area, like Morris,
Yep,
Shanahan, Medina.
yep.
So yeah, I grew up there. Growing up, my parents, I kind of watched them grow their business. We own a restaurant out in Diamond, so that's what they do.
Oh, okay.
So what my goal with what I'm doing with you today with Cutco is that I want to better my communication, meet some different people from all over, and my ultimate goal is to do real estate and own my own business one day as well. Cutco has been a huge part of what I've been doing these past couple years. Ever since I started at junior college, Joliet Junior College, and till now. But whether you cook all the time, whether you cook minimally, or whether you do something here and there, I think everyone loves Cutco because everybody eats, right? And
That's
it's
right.
really good stuff. I will start off by saying, if you know a little bit about Cutco, then the basics are like it's American made, it's dishwasher safe, and it's guaranteed forever. I always like to compare Cutco to like Snap-on tools, for instance. It's
Okay.
quality stuff, but for the kitchen. And I think that's one of the main reasons why Chris got some Cutco. Ironically enough, here I'm looking at my sheet of paper here. Uh, a guy named Bill Tyler. I don't know if you know who that is.
Oh yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
sold me my truck.
Oh, yeah. This 4th of July weekend, they're going to be busy, but I have another virtual with him upcoming here. So we'll definitely have something to talk about after today. So cool. Let me go ahead and screen share so that way you kind of see what I see.
All
So
right.
as you can see, it's Cutco, and the demonstration that I'm going to be performing for you today. It's correlated to the kitchen. I know you kind of talked about knives and such, but that's a big misconception. Cutco is more than a knife company; it's a kitchen company. So it ranges from like pots and pans, forks and spoons, knives, some outdoor stuff like for hunting and fishing, if you do any of that. But this over here was initially what I was working towards in the very beginning when I first started. But now I'm just trying to move on up and get into like management or a professional selling role. This over here is a little background on Cutco. In itself, it's been around since the 40s. It's based in New York, so everything with the cutting edge that you're seeing today is American made, which is something that we take a lot of pride in. So for starters, let me show you a couple things that really blow people's minds. I think this is one of the most popular things Cutco makes. It's our super shears. And what's really fascinating about them is that they do come apart for easy cleaning. You can use them for outdoor projects, indoor food items, and check this out. If you look closely, he's cutting a penny. So it's not something you see every day, but these things are capable of cutting through pretty much anything and everything: paper, cloth, fabric. Cut through a whole chicken, cut through some pizza, and just little things like that. As I kind of progress here, I know I had you grab a sheet of paper and something to write with. If at any given moment throughout this entire presentation you have any questions, you have anything that catches your eye, or just general feedback that you may have for me at the end, just feel free to jot it down because I'll be covering a lot of stuff today. Um,
Okay.
so I want to know and learn a little bit more about you. Austin, and my first couple questions for you would be on out of 7 days, how often would you say you're making food? Not necessarily cooking it. Now, what I mean by that is you could be cutting up veggies for a salad, you could be cutting up fruit, you could be putting cream cheese on a bagel, you can put steaks on the grill. How often do you like make food?
Oh, probably 3 or 4 times a week. Yeah,
Okay.
four,
What
four
would you
days of it.
what would you say like the most popular things you like to make are? What are like some simple things? Yeah. What are like your go-tos?
Stir fry, fried rice. Things that require some vegetable chopping.
For sure, for sure. So when it comes to like veggies, for instance, do you every once in a while or maybe all the time cut up veggies like onion, celery, carrots, potatoes, things
Oh
like
yeah, all the time.
cool. And then what about meat? Like do you ever do like steaks, pork chops, chicken, brisket?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Cool, cool. And I know with the summer here, what about like fruit? Maybe on occasion, watermelon, cantaloupe, pineapple.
I haven't done too much fruit.
Okay, so not necessarily fruit, none at all, or just select.
I I might get a watermelon once or twice a year. That's
I gotcha. Cool, cool. So not necessarily fruit, but more on the meat and veggie side that you
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, let me show you something else. Instead of just the scissors, we have awesome other things. This is our cheese knife. You'll see this a lot more actually throughout the demo, but all it is right now is showing you how it doesn't stick to the blade. Our potato peeler is one of the best because whether you're lefty or righty, it does go in both directions. So it makes it easy to peel, and you can peel carrots, potatoes in a fraction of the time. Um, Another one of our popular gadgets is our ice cream scoop. I love this because if you notice closely here, it starts to drip a little bit. It's because it melts your ice cream, so that way you don't have to like heat up your ice cream scoops with hot water or microwave your ice cream for a couple seconds, like my grandma does. All that stuff is done and taken care of for you. I love this one the best because the pizza
Oh, the pizza cutter cleaner. Yeah, oh, yeah.
it pops open, you can clean it and then reattach back on because when you cut up pizza, that nasty stuff gets stuck in between and it just cuts super easy. And of course, it's easy to clean. But those are just some of our gadgets. The other two gadgets I didn't show would be like our wine opener. It's got like a bottle opener and a wine cork, and then our can opener is unlike any other because it's got a magnet and it doesn't leave any like sharp edges either. So those are just a select few of the gadgets. But I know what you may be wondering: where's the good stuff? Where are the knives? Well, that's what we're going to get to next. Um, and this page right over here, in my opinion, Austin, is like the most boring section of the demo. So bear with me. But if you think about it, when you first start off and you get your first, home or you get your first apartment, a lot of times people need stuff in their kitchen. You need tools to get by. And what you'll notice is that people's drawers throughout someone's lifetime, maybe like your parents or like your grandparents or aunts or uncles or friends, their drawers start to pile up and it's just like a drawer full of clutter, like what you see on the screen. And it's like wooden handles, plastic handles, they're cheap, they're unsanitary, they're not dishwasher safe, and a whole line of, cons about, everyday cheap stuff like this. The overall purpose of why we show this to people is to tell people that, cheap things will never be good and good things will never be cheap. You get what you pay for. In a way, I always like to compare like the cheap stuff you see on the screen as like, a visit to like Subway or McDonald's or Chipotle because it's cheap. But at the same time too, it's not going to be the only time someone ever goes out to those places because it's convenient, it's quick, it's cheap. Just like what you see, those are, the best words to describe everyday cheap stuff like this. Now, when you compare to stuff like Cutco's, this is what it how it breaks down. Our knives in itself, the only con of the presentation today is that I'm not like physically handing you the knife, but I promise you I'm gonna do the best job I can. The knife in itself is ergonomic, so once people hold the knife, not only does it fit in your hand, but it locks your thumb and forefinger into place, and it increases control and safety while reducing fatigue. It does have a full tang where the steel runs the full length of the handle, and using that extra steel is more expensive, but you get what you pay for. And of course, one of my most popular features about this knife that a lot of people appreciate is that it's dishwasher friendly, and the blade. The blade's a little tricky, and when people see Cutco for the very first time, they always say like, "Well, Steven, aren't serrated knives, aren't they pretty tough to sharpen, or you can't sharpen them at all?" That is true, but what's great about Cutco is that our edges, we don't make serrated knives because up here, this is this diagram up at the top where it says serrated edge. It's more wavy. That's what typical store brand knives would look like a bread knife, for instance. But
Mhm.
our knives, they're more rounded off. They have teeth on them. So at the bottom here, when you see the teeth, the points actually don't cut. They're sharp by all means, but what the arrows are pointing to, what's between the teeth, is pretty much what does the cutting. So that's why it doesn't like clinch on to like meat or veggies and start shredding. It just makes a smooth, clean cut like a smooth blade would. Now, instead of me talking about it and semi getting you confused on it, I'm going to show you a little video. It's the same demonstration. If I was there at your home, I would hold down this fibrous piece of rope and have you use one of your knives to try to cut through it. So this is just like a brief example that would look like. So this is, I want to say, a serrated carving knife that you might find at different stores. Rips, saws, teeth, clenches. You can see the fibers still on the knife. when you look at something like this is a general chef knife, a smooth blade. It's really, smooth cutting as you can see, but he's obviously pushing a little bit harder to kind of cut through it. And these are the type of knives that you'll want to sharpen regularly, and that's oftentimes a pain in the butt. And who has time for that? And then, of course, here's Cutco knives. And unlike ripping and tearing, it cuts right on through relatively smooth. And the best part about it is that all of our knives stay sharp anywhere from like 6 to 10 years. So you don't have to sharpen them regularly. They stay sharp, they hold their edge. What I personally love is that the best thing about Cutco is this right over here. It's our forever guarantee. And I want to say something to, right off the bat, so that way I don't forget about this. But I want to be upfront. I don't think Chris bought for me to be nice. That's really important. Uh, Chris bought because he understood that, for him and his girlfriend, they never have to buy knives ever again. This is our forever guarantee. So what it simply states is that if anything ever chips, cracks, breaks, whatever, don't panic. You send it all back to New York where it's all made, and you'll get a brand new one for free forever. You never have to pay to replace your knives. Forever sharpness. Whenever your Cutco does need sharpening after 6 to 8 years, or maybe a little touch up before then, you send it back to the factory, pay a couple bucks for shipping, wait about 2 weeks, get them all refurbished for you, all for free. But I've come to notice that a lot of people might not want to send their stuff in or wait 2 weeks or even pay for shipping. So what I did for Chris, and what the promise I made to him is that when that day comes, all he has to do is shoot me a text, give me a call, and I'll swing on by like I did the first time. And we have manual sharpeners that we can do it for you for free as well too. But I don't know about you, but there's nothing out there that I can think of that's not only American made, but guaranteed forever. And something that you could pass down to, your future family members one day, or your, parents or grandparents, kids, or whoever else down the road as well too. So up next, I want to play you a brief little testimonial on what other people have to say about Cutco. Now, I could sit here all day and tell you how phenomenal Cutco is, but I'd much rather you hear from people like Chris, like this video over here. But before I show it to you, I always want to make the simple disclaimer so that way you're not in for any surprises at the end. Cutco is one of those brands that's not going to be cheap, right? It's going to be one of those brands that you buy once, use every day, and never have to replace. It's going to be the one that you have in your kitchen forever. So let me go ahead and play you this little video and show you what it's all about.
They're the best knives, and all the other knives I've bought don't compare. If you have a good knife in your kitchen, get a Cutco. It's the best investment I ever made, yeah. I've had my Cutco for 25 years.
We've had our Cutco more than 20 years.
It's almost 40 years. 50 years?
At least 50 years.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I like the grip of the handles and just the way all the knives cut. They're great knives. They last forever.
And of course, there's always the availability to have them sharpened again. So it was.
Of course it was. It was definitely worth an investment in Cutco.
So yeah, that was just a brief little testimonial video of just some of the many people. I also want to throw this out there too. I haven't seen this video in quite some time, but no, we don't target middle-aged moms or older couples. We target everybody that enjoys eating. But that board right there is pretty much states it all. One of the many reasons why you'll have her for 20, 30, 40 years. And you'll appreciate the quality of it. Now, up next is our basic set. Now, this is your basic set right over here. Now, what I want to share with you is that this set over here is designed for people who like to prepare food, whether it be cutting up veggies, fruit, meat, putting cream cheese on a bagel, making a sandwich, simple things like that. This is the set Chris got, but he also a la carted like the scissors because the scissors weren't a part of the set. But let me go ahead and share with you what this includes. So it's a homemaker plus 8 set, but in simpler terms, this is what we call our basic set. Let me show you what's included. So our paring knife. I don't have to, go into too much detail about the paring knife, but it's really nice because it's small. It fits your hand. It's great for peeling and paring like apples, potatoes, and like the smaller stuff. Then you have a lot of control over it too. The next one's honestly one of the most popular pieces in this set. It's our tomato knife. What I love about it is that it doesn't leave tomato chunks all over the place. It smoothly cuts right on through. Unlike, dull knives that squish the tomato and you have juices all over the place. This is also really nice for like lemons, limes, and smaller baseball-sized fruits and veggies. And of course, on occasion, if you want to use it for like chicken breasts, raw meat, you could always do that too. But aside from that, this is the next one. You know, you can't go wrong with something quick and easy like putting cream cheese on a bagel or making a sandwich. A lot of times people may look at me funny and go, Steven, why in the world would we need something like this? And I would always tell them, like, sure, you could always use something like a butter knife, let's say, but this is so wickedly sharp and versatile that you can not only spread cream cheese on a bagel, but you can cut through it as well too. I love this for peanut butter, jelly, Nutella, frosting, icing. Literally, the list goes on and on. This one over here has the brownie scooped up, and of course, you can spread with the frosting too. Probably should skip this because I'm getting a little hungry. So let's go ahead and skip to the next one. This one over here is the petite carver and the turning fork. This is like the meat and barbecue combo. So the petite carver, just a side note, was the knife that we saw earlier that cut the rope. So that was the first one we saw. So this one's great because I know you vividly told me earlier that you rarely cut fruit, maybe like watermelon, maybe twice a year. But this one is great for simple things like, pineapple and like the smaller to medium sized fruits like cantaloupes, pineapple, but it cuts through relatively easy.
That'd be good for ribs.
What's that?
But like that would be good for ribs.
Yeah. And of course, the turning fork is like a great aid because you can get that last pickle, the last cherry, flip bacon. There's like a long list of things. These are just like some of the many things that I guess you could say Cutco's used for. But yeah, just to give you a general perspective. But yeah, like you said, ribs would be great. Our butcher knife is really awesome too. These videos that I'm playing you, now that I think of it, probably won't cater to the things you do because they're cutting like a bunch of fruit. But it's great because you could do rack of ribs because this one's like a lot bigger. So a whole rack of ribs, brisket. If you ever do turkey or ham or just a rotisserie chicken, this cuts right on through. Really, really nice. And of course, the nerdy side of me, I would always tell people that if you ever get bored, you can play Fruit Ninja in your kitchen, go all out. So that in itself is your butcher knife. Coming up here to the conclusion, we have our chef knife. You can't forget about the veggies, right? And this is one of the main things you typically do aside from meat. High knuckle clearance for soup, salad, stir fry, stuffing, and salsa, chopping, dicing, all that stuff. Celery, carrots, onions, and just like an assortment of vegetables. But this is like one of the go-to pieces in this set as well too.
That's the main one I was looking for because I busted my Chicago knife, my chef knife, like 2 months ago.
Gotcha. Yeah. And that's what's really nice too. I do personally hear this all the time, whether it's like KitchenAid, Barberware, Chicago Cutlery, for instance. Those are the type of the brands that are well known, but they're more focused on, cheaper price than value. So that's why Cutco, we're going to be a little bit more expensive, but if anything did break, you're in good hands regardless. Our bread knife, we won't have to go into too much detail with this one, but I'm sure you know how to slice bread, but this one's for cakes, bread. It doesn't squish your bread. The main purpose of this. It's also great if you ever do boneless meats as well too, but boneless meats and bread and cakes and different things like that. And then this is your Thanksgiving Christmas set. So if you ever do barbecues, big roasts, burgers, brats, things like that, you have your carving set there too. The last thing in this set is your table knives. Now, everything I've shown you thus far can be used easily throughout someone's entire lifetime. That's a piece of leather, by the way. And that's a regular, like serrated, crappy knife from the stores. It's ripping, shredding, and that's typically what happens with serrated knives. And here's Cutco's table knife. As you can see, it cuts relatively smooth. There's no resistance. And if you're wondering what a table knife is, in simpler terms, it's a small hybrid of a butter knife / steak knife. It is not dull. Obviously, as you can see, it's wicked sharp. Again, another demonstration with leather in the air. I understand I understand that people's steaks aren't this tough, but a lot of times whether it's
I know people that like them that tough.
Oh man,
well done,
oh boy.
people.
Well done. Oh my God, that deserves to be in the trash, right?
Right.
But those are the table knives, and those are like the smaller ones. As for color wise, as well as like storage options, we want to make sure not only the knives are safe, but people that own the Cutco products are too, because they are wicked sharp. So we supply you with the block that has a slot for each and every single one of the pieces. And then of course we have the entertainment pack that we saw earlier with all the gadgets. This one over here is pretty much from start to finish what we just looked at, right? That's our basic set. Like before I showed you anything, I told you this is the standard basic set, but don't blink. Here it is again. This one over here is the homemaker set again. It comes in dark, white, or red. Just a quick survey question, but if you had like a good quality Cutco set in your home yourself, what color would you go with? The dark or the white, or I guess the red too?
Based on the color scheme of the house, probably the darker the white.
Yeah. A lot of times those are typically the go-to first two colors. But this one over here is the signature set. And let me tell you a little bit about the signature set. It's the same thing as the homemaker set. It has everything in the basic set I showed you, but 4 more pieces. And you get the choice of steak or table knives. Now let me show you what those 4 additional pieces are. So you saw the scissors already, which, you know, more than just for cutting pennies. You have these 3 pieces over here, the cheese knife, the miniature chopper, and the hearty slicer. Those 3 pieces and the shears are included in the set. And then you get the choice of the steak knives or the table knives. Honestly, a lot of people do like the steak knives better because they're a lot larger and they blend in with everything else too.
Right.
And then of course, the biggest and best set Cutco makes, the ultimate set. I think everyone deserves to have this set because this is pretty much the set you can't get bored with, the set that you're going to have for generations. You have like the cleaver, the vegetable knife, the salmon knife, the filet boning knife. Instead of me just talking about these individually, let me highlight you the 5 most popular pieces. And I did so through this YouTube video. So let's check this out. Cheese knife. This is one of the 4. So the scissors was 1, cheese knife was number 2 in that next setup, the signature set. This is great for like cheeses, potatoes. The 3 holes are there so that nothing suctions and nothing sticks to the blade. And what's really nice is one of the holes is like a bottle opener. So that's like your party knife, if you will. The next one over here is the hearty slicer. So the key word to this is hard, because if you ever cut sweet potatoes, yams, rutabaga, summer sausage, or anything like semi-frozen, like you're waiting for like chicken breast to thaw out, it just goes right on through. And then this one over here, a lot of moms love this because it's lighter weight, lighter feel. It's what we call our Santoku knife. It's like a curved chopping knife, but this one's great for like your mincing jobs, your chopping jobs. When like the big chef knife you saw earlier is like dirty or in the dishwasher, you got backup ready to go.
It's just so sharp. It makes it so easy.
Now
to
this
cut
one,
through. It's almost like.
Now this one, again, I don't know if you would use it that much, but I at least want to show it to you. It's called our salmon knife. And what I love about it is that it's not just used for salmon. In a second here, when he sections this entire watermelon, it just gives you the idea of, hey, you should never
fillet that rind off.
Yep. He's gonna like flex it a little bit, and then check this out. Cuts right around the rind of it, so it's great for like brisket, salmon, and prime rib as well too. Outside of fruit, of course, but something like that, it makes it so much easier for someone to cut up fruit in the comfort of their own home.
The supermarket I used to work at had something like that for cutting watermelon and packaging up and throwing it in produce section. That was probably one of my favorite knives.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this one's sweet. This one's great for so much more than obviously fruit. But the next one that I want to show you is the vegetable cleaver. If you ever do squash or anything like tougher, it can be a pain in the butt to cut, but this video pretty much is like a life hack on how to cut squash and using an effective Cutco knife as well too. It's our vegetable cleaver. So it's a rectangular shape. You pinch both corners, you cut off the stem, stand it up, push down, and then boom, it cuts right on through for you. So that way, it's good and you never have to worry about, having it cut or anything else, pre-cut or anything like that ever again. So cool. That's pretty much the gist of it. So all 5 of those pieces are in the big set. If you're like, there's still a lot of pieces in the ultimate set you wouldn't use, no worries. You just miss out on like the flexible salmon knife and the rectangular style chopper. But the middle set, which is, again, the big set was the one that was the previous slide. The middle set is this one over here that still comes with everyone's favorites: the cheese knife, the shears, the Santoku, and the Hardy slicer. And then, of course, those are just the 4 core pieces in the middle set, and you get the choice of steak or table knives. And then last but not least, this is the basic set. But if you remember what I said in the very beginning, I told you that, Chris really liked a lot of the specialty pieces in the big set, but he was able to get like a smaller set just to a la carte some of the cooler pieces onto it too. So we can have it pre-built into your block, so that way all of it's there, and you get, the right tool for the right job. So here's my wrap up. I'm done explaining all the technical stuff. I showed you pretty much the main options and such, but let me go ahead and wrap up with you and review with you why so many people love to go with Cutco. So one, you'll always have sharp American-made knives that are comfortable, safe, and sanitary. Cutco is guaranteed to last forever, so it would be the last set of knives you would ever get and use. And Cutco saves a ton of money as well too. Most people who get Cutco, they typically eat out less and cook at home more because they have all the right tools for the right job. A lot of people, they like the sets because they are discounted, they're safer, they come in a block, and we offer different payment plans too, so you never have to pay for it all up front. Now, with that being said, Austin, I'm really appreciative that you've been patient with me thus far, in me allowing you to, or in me showing you all the different options that we offer. So here's the moment of truth. You're probably wondering, all right, Steven, how much is this going to cost me? Is this going to cost me an arm and a leg? I always like to share with people some price comparisons, so that way you kind of get an idea of what makes sense for you. So as I said earlier a couple times, we can't ever compare to like cheaper brands like Walmart or, department stores, because that's not the right brands that we want to compare to. We want to compare to quality brands. So I have a price comparison. So the next slide I'm about to show you isn't our prices. It's just our competitors' prices and what they run. And if you could, as I'm talking about them, I just asked that if you could just put an S for Shun, which is one of the knife sets. Shun is S, and then Wusthof is W. So in a second here, I'll have you put S in one corner of your sheet of paper and W in another, corner of your sheet of paper. But just curious though, have you ever heard of either one of these brands before?
I've heard of Wusthof. I can't say I've heard of Shun.
Yeah, so these aren't like made up sets or anything. Obviously, you know a little bit about Wusthof. If you ever go to like Williams Sonoma's, for instance, or like kitchen stores, they'll offer like, these really expensive sets of knives. And here's a little bit background information on these sets. These sets are really good quality, but they're also really, really expensive. So the Shun set is the Japanese made set. This one retails at about $4,400. You can find it for that special price. And this is Wusthof. There's several knockoff brands when it comes to Wusthof, but this is the highest grade of Wusthof. It's kind of like your premier level for Wusthof. It's the Icon Blackwood. This one over here retails at about $3,500. Needless to say, not a lot of people have these sets, as you can probably assume why. But here's the thing, though. There are some major, major, major differences between what you see in front of you right now and what you just saw with Cutco. So let me tell you the differences. These guys are made overseas. They're not dishwasher safe. They have to be sharpened regularly because, they have these honing rods and they're pretty much designed for chefs. So that is a hassle when you have to sharpen it regularly. And the number one thing I personally don't like about it is that with how expensive they are, they don't have, a lifetime warranty or a forever warranty. So if anything were to chip, crack, or break, someone just spent all that money and the warranty is pretty much useless. But when you think about our brands, you think about Cutco's. Cutco's is American made. It's got your Stay Sharp Double D edge, along with our Forever Guarantee. So I have a knife right over here, but Forever Guarantee, forever sharpness, forever replacements, full tang. And my favorite part about Cutco myself is that it is dishwasher safe. So it saves a lot more time than doing dishes all night.
Oh, yeah.
Most people would tell you that Cutco is 10 times better than any other regular brand out there. Based on our guarantee alone, people would say that we're at least twice as good as brands like Wusthof and Shun because we actually have a guarantee we stand behind. But when you think about it, if something is that quality and something does offer twice the quality, twice the value, and it lasts forever, you would assume that a basic set of Cutco like ours, like these guys over here, in comparison to ours, which in this case would be this one over here, the one that Chris got, would be similar in price of anywhere from the 3,500 or the 4,500. So if you could do me a huge favor, can you just write down S for Shun, and then right next to S, just put S/4,500, and then right underneath it, just put W/3,500, because this is what it costs for like the basic set of knives that, offer this type of quality. And in a second here, I'm gonna tell you what Cutco offers, but I've got some exciting news. We don't cost anywhere near their prices in terms of the basic set. I don't think Chris would have bought if that were the case, but I think the main reason why he bought was, again, like I told you from the start, he understands that it's going to be the best investment he'll ever make, and he'll never have to buy knives ever again. So here it is. Unlike these prices for a basic set, our basic set costs nowhere near that. Now, for me to appropriately figure out what set makes the most sense for you, that's where I kind of come in and ask you a couple survey questions. If you had a set of Cutco, so my first survey question for you, if you had a set of Cutco based on what you do, a wide range of meat, wide range of food, wide range of meat, wide range of veggies, and, here and there for fruit, because you don't do it all that often or at all. When it comes down to it, which one of these sets do you think you would get the maximum usage out of for you, your family, and when you have like company over? Would you say something like the basic, the middle set right over here that comes with the scissors, the cheese knife, and these two pieces over here? Or would you say something like the complete set, pretty much everything Cutco makes, the biggest and best set that Cutco offers? Between those three options, which one do you think you would use the most? The complete?
Probably the signature, but I do like the options the Ultimate gives me.
For sure, for sure. And then just a curious question too. I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna make sure I ask so I get, a full clarity. But between the table knives, which was the first knife that you saw that cut the leather, these were the smaller ones, and
Right.
these were the steak knives. And like I mentioned, typically people like the larger steak knives, but again, they do the same job. Based on these two alone, it comes in a quantity. You don't just get one of them for everyone to share. It comes with a quantity of them. Which one do you think you would use more, steak knives or table knives, if you had to pick one? Because it would go right in the front just like that.
Honestly, probably the table knife.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the table knives and steak knives, like I said, they do the same job, but one of them just a little bit bigger. And it's also really nice because I can't tell if you can tell, but the tip of them, they're blunt. So that way you
Yeah.
can't like poke an eye out or anything. So that's the benefit of having those instead of sharp tip steak knives. Well, cool. Well, in that case, knowing what I know about you and your preferences, it just makes sense for me to kind of conclude here and tell you what the big set costs and then what the signature set costs, and then just kind of go from there, since those are your two top favorites. So here it is. Go ahead and write this down for me. I want you to write down complete set, and right underneath it, middle set or the signature set, whichever you want to put. Complete set's 1, signature set's 2, which is what we call like our family set or the entertainment set. So go ahead and write those two down, and let me go ahead and share with you one thing. Can you remind me one more time what you wrote down for the Shun price?
4,500.
Okay. And then what about the Wusthof price?
3,500.
Okay, so I've got some great exciting news. So those are the basic sets, and those are actually smaller than both the Ultimate and the Signature, because again, our basic set right over here is the same size as those two sets that I just talked about, the Wusthof and Shun. What's really nice is that we don't cost anywhere near 4,500 or 3,500 for the basic set, and for a set like the Ultimate set that's much bigger. Here's the exciting part. That set alone doesn't even cost as much as either of those prices either, which is great because I don't think a lot of people would buy if that were the case. But
Right.
go ahead and write this down. The big set of the Ultimate doesn't cost $4,000. It doesn't even cost $3,000 technically today. The signature set, if you want to write this down, it's $3,049 slash 610. $3,049 slash 610. Now, that's the set for the Ultimate, and what that includes is 12 steak knives or 12 table knives, depending on which one you like. What I love about it is that, it's got all the bells and whistles, and this is the biggest and best set Cutco makes. That's for the ultimate set with the steak knives. One of the things that we're doing right now is there's an alternative option where you can obviously do the ultimate set with the table knives, and that one's a little bit less. And I think that one might make a little more sense for you because you said you would use table knives more than the steak. I want you to write this price down. It's a quite a bit of a difference. The ultimate set would be 2740. 2740 slash, let me see here, 2740 slash 548. Now, I want you to circle the 610 and circle the 548, just so that way you kind of have an understanding of what you would pay today, because we understand that, Cutco's never one of those planned or budgeted expenses. No one ever wakes up in the morning expecting to spend money on knives unless, you're like Bill, because he's like, I need a set of knives. And I'm like, okay, cool. But unlike him, a lot of other people, they see Cutco, they're always curious why it's so popular, why they've heard of it, why so many people have it. And pretty much the entire demonstration that I went through pretty much explains to you why a lot of people love it. You'll never have to worry about sharpenings. You never have to worry about replacements. All that stuff is done and guaranteed forever. Now, that is the ultimate set with the table knives. I mentioned earlier, my job today isn't to force you to get a huge set that you would probably never touch. My goal today is to get you an option that makes sense for you, and we can still customize it to your needs as well too. Because like you said earlier, you liked the signature set, but you also liked the ultimate set because it has some of the unique pieces that are along with it. So my question for you is this: in terms of the ultimate set that you see on your screen right now and what it includes, what are your thoughts on a set like this for the 548? Because it wouldn't be the 610, because again, the 610 is for the steak knives, and I know you said the table knives would make more sense for you. What are your thoughts on something like this?
Yeah, probably if I got the mid-range set or something like that, might have to add the butcher knife or something like that. That's probably it.
Okay.
If I had to switch between the two.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this question. It seems like you like Cutco, and you seem like you would definitely get a lot of usage out of it. I am in this really big contest for this entire year, and we're in the midst of a really big push contest. And my goal is to do at least 100 more presentations by the end of the year. So I wanted to ask you one fun question that, would make a lot of sense for you. I know you're probably wondering, well, Steven, this stuff looks sharp, it looks solid, but where's the other cool stuff? Where's your gadgets? Where's some of the outdoor stuff and whatnot? Let me show you those real quick. So I know we talked about the gadgets in the very beginning. So it ranges from uh the peeler, wine opener, pizza cutter, ice cream scoop, can opener, and of course you already saw the cheese knife. Amongst these 5 pieces over here, if they all magically fell in your drawer, knowing what you know now about Cutco and the guarantee that it offers, which one do you think you would get the most usage out of, the second most, and so on and so forth amongst these 5 minus the cheese knife?
Probably the pizza cutter and the can opener.
The pizza cutter and the can opener?
Yeah.
Gotcha. If you could just put down can and then pizza on your sheet too, just so that way you have that down. The reason why I'm asking, Austin, is because if you like stuff like the can opener as well as the pizza cutter, those are things that are oftentimes not included in the set because they're typically extra. But what I would love to do is, just like Chris, I'd love to earn your business here today. And what I would love to do is personally purchase your Forever Guarantee can opener and your Forever Guarantee pizza cutter. So that way you never have to worry about buying another pointless one ever again, because these 2 will be covered and guaranteed for the rest of your life and beyond. Before I forget, there are some other things that might intrigue you. Are you an outdoor guy, or do you ever hunt, fish, garden, or anything like that?
Not really. No.
Not really. Okay, well, that's just pretty much the last segment of the Cutco presentation, outside of garden tools and pots and pans and things like that. But so if you were to do something like the ultimate set today, this is the big one. This is the one that's the biggest and best set Cutco makes. It wouldn't be the 3049, it'd be the 2740. or if you were to do it over 5 months today, it'd be 540, and then you would just pay as you go. What's really nice is that Cutco does this plan where you can split it up over 5 months, and you just pay as you go, and it auto debits from your account. This would be for the ultimate set. Were you potentially open to something like this, or would you be more open to like something like a signature set plus some a la carte pieces on there?
Yeah, let's go. Let's look at the mid set, the signature set.
Yeah. So this one's really awesome too, because the signature set's got the core pieces. You're just missing, let me tell you the pieces you would be missing. The boning knife, the 4-inch paring knife, the salmon knife, the meat cleaver, the vegetable cleaver. I think that's it. Yeah. And then 2 less steak knives. So amongst those pieces, you tell me, what would you pretty much a la carte into the mid set? Would you say a 4-inch paring knife, a bigger paring knife, a fillet knife, a salmon knife, a meat cleaver, or a vegetable knife?
Probably the meat cleaver and the vegetable knife.
These two over here?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So what's really nice is that instead of going with like the ultimate set with the 2 larger prices, if you were to condense it down and a la carte those 2 pieces onto this set, I've got great news. It brings down the cost quite a bit, because every set still has like, little things that are included in the set that, increases the price just a little bit. So if you want to write down signature set, I think this one's great because it's got all the pieces you would use, and then you would also get the cleaver along with the vegetable knife along with it. And then go ahead and if you could just jot this down, instead of paying the 3049 or the 2740, this cost for the signature set with those two additional items would be 2364, or today it'd be 473 for the 5 months, and that's before tax. Don't know exactly what the tax is out in your area, but before 73 for the over the course of the 5 months. But like I said, what I would be happy to do is we'd take care of the shipping for you, so you don't have to worry about anything else. And then I would still personally purchase the can opener and the pizza cutter along with it for free. Although you wouldn't get the big set, I think that for something like this, if this is something you'd be more open to using and see more practicality in your everyday kitchen, preparation, I think that this option might make a little more sense. Do you think something like this would be something you'd be open to trying out today?
Probably not right away. I don't have quite that much saved up,
Okay,
but probably around Christmas time I'd have enough of that.
for sure. So let me ask you this question, Austin. In terms of what you've seen today, I pretty much showed you like, the different set options, the facts, the information that you need to know about Cutco. In terms of what you saw today, did you like what you see? Can you see like, practical use out of these pieces?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, I'm just curious to know, but if you don't mind me asking, I think I might know, but I just want to be clear. Based on everything I've showed you today, do you think it's just more than you'd be open to spending today, a little too many pieces, or a mixture of both, if you don't mind me asking?
Just the price is a little bit more than I was expecting. That's
Okay.
basically it.
Yeah, if that's it, I want to be as transparent as possible with you, and I appreciate you being open with me as well too. Do me a favor, those 3 sets that I gave you, the ultimate with steak, ultimate with table, a signature with table, and beyond, go ahead and keep those, but put a little X, just a little itty bitty X, to cross those off, because I don't want to try to get you something here today if it doesn't fit your budget. So I know in the beginning, you told me about the things you like to prepare in the kitchen, the things that you make. I always like to ask this question, but like I think I know the answer, but I'm just curious to know. Let's say price wasn't an issue, and like you got the entire ultimate set, speed delivered to you tomorrow or something, and we got it all set up really nice in your kitchen. Do you think you would use like every single piece the moment you get it?
I would probably use 70% of it.
Yeah, like a good chunk of it, to say the
Yeah,
least.
yeah.
Like, maybe not every single piece, dirty it all up and, use
Right.
every piece the moment you get it. Because the reason I asked that question is, if that's the case, maybe, and this is just me speaking in terms of what I believe might make a little more sense for you, if you just held off on those bigger sets and just did one more step down. The only thing that I recalled you saying that you liked in the ultimate was the cleaver and the vegetable knife, right? In the signature set, amongst like the scissors, the cheese knife, the 5-inch Santoku, and the hearty slicer, amongst those four pieces, so 1, 2, 3, 4, which one of those do you think you would use the most, the second most, and so on and so forth amongst those four?
Probably the Santoku, the shears, and then the Hardy slicer.
Okay. So the cheese knife would probably be at the last of the list
Yeah.
of things you probably wouldn't use. So, okay. Well, let me go ahead, and if it's okay, I'm going to show you this one alternative option. And this is the same thing that Chris did, and it might make a lot more sense for you, because this one over here, I always like to call like, the cell phone set or like the standard starter set, because it's equivalent in price, but it's way higher in value than what you would get like buying a phone or a computer or whatnot. So this one's our basic set, and it still comes with a substantial amount of the things that are in the ultimate and the signature, because this is your basic starter set. So if you want to write down Cutco basic set, what I'll do is this: if you were to just start with the homemaker set, you're in for a treat, because I know the other sets that I was spitting out to you all ran in like the 2000 range. This one's a pretty standard set, and it actually is super budget friendly, because it's heavily discounted. We always want something that makes a lot of sense for people in terms of the pieces, but we want to make sure that it's a fraction of the cost, so that way it fits in their budget and something that they can at least get started with. If you were to do something like the basic set, right? If you were to do something like this, it's nowhere near the $3,000 to 2,700, 2,400, or whatever other price I told you earlier. The basic set, I'll include this for you. I'll include your top two pieces of like the cleaver and like the vegetable knife, we'll say. Okay, we'll include the cleaver and the vegetable knife together, and then we'll include the shears. I'll just include the shears as like your top three pieces to supplement the homemaker set. And there's always going to be time to add on more pieces later. If you were to do the homemaker set, the basic set you see on the screen, it comes with 8 of the table knives and the 10 basic tools, along with those 3 pieces I just named off: the cleaver, the vegetable knife, and the super shears. And what that costs is a whole lot less than the other sets that I kind of pitched earlier. That would only be, if you could jot this down, it'd be $1,774. Or today, if you were to split it up, it'd be $352. And then just so that you kind of have an idea, and just so you know that, this option is a lot less and definitely worth every penny, I want to throw one more option for you, and that's just the basic set alone by itself. How's that, right? The basic set alone, you get the bells and whistles out of the way. You got your chef knife for your veggies, your petite carver and smaller knives for your smaller fruit and veggies, and then the meat knife for like your ribs, or the butcher knife as well too. The homemaker set right over there, you're looking at $1,443, or today it's only $285. And this was the one that Chris got. I don't necessarily remember exactly what other 1 or 2 pieces he added on, but if you were to start with something like the basic, it gets you started on good quality stuff, and it'll never be something that'll cross your mind ever again about buying another knife, another block, another cutting board, because great news, it comes with a block to protect all the knives. And at the same time too, we also give you a good quality cutting board, so that way you're not using it on like glass, granite, marble to hurt the knives in any way. And that way we get you some of the pieces too. So this is the homemaker set by itself for the $285 for 5 months. Or if you were to do the homemaker and we added on the 3 pieces, the cleaver, the vegetable knife, and the shears, those would be the 3 additional pieces added on there. And it was the 18 or the 355 for the 5 months. Between those 2 options, since it's a little bit smaller, do you think that helps out a little bit in terms of what you're looking at? Because
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, like the bigger sets are obviously, right now it seems like it's, it might be out of the price range, but if you were to start with something a tad bit smaller amongst those 2 options, which would you go for? Would you say the homemaker by itself, or would you say the homemaker plus the 3 additional pieces?
Probably the homemade with the 3 additional pieces.
Okay. Well, I know you like Cutco, and it seems like, it's you like the quality and what the knives can do. And again, I'm really, really sorry that I wasn't able to make it out on today. My appointments were just not able to follow through.
Right.
As a thank you though, I want you to get the maximum value, the maximum best deal possible. If you were to do the homemaker plus 8 today, plus the 3 additional pieces, what I can do for you, we still can take care of the shipping, but I also want to still give you the can opener and pizza cutter for free, because I know by doing this, here's what I know. If I give you more free products as well as more things added to your bundle, it's going to, you're always going to think of me. And that's what I want you to do. Think of me when you think of Cutco. And then when you're ready for other stuff, we can always add those on later as well too. But in terms of something like this with the 3 additional pieces, was that something I could start you off with today?
Yeah, let's go ahead and start that off.
Okay. And then in terms of the color, did you want to do the dark color or did you want to do the white one?
Probably do the dark.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and process everything here with you today too. So that way it's all secure. Nothing gets saved or anything like that. I'm just going to need like whatever card you're going to use on file and the address that we're sending this to and all that. But give me 1 second. My girlfriend just got home and I got to let her in. 1 second.
No problem.
Hey, Austin.
Yeah.
In terms of I I I wrote it down, but you said the table knives, and then sorry, one more time, the dark or the white?
The dark.
Okay. And then the other 3 pieces will also come in the dark as well too. So it's the shears, the cleaver, and then the vegetable knife as well too.
Yep.
Okay. And then is the shipping going to be the same as the billing as well too? Do you get your card statement sent to your house?
Yeah.
Okay. And then in regards to receipt as well as shipping time, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks. So it'll be shipped out via UPS. You'll get an email when like the products ship out and everything. So just be on the lookout for that. And if you give me 1 second, I'm gonna go ahead and process what I got to here, and then I'll ask for the other information here in a second. But yeah, how did you like the demo so far?
It was good. It was good.
Awesome. In terms of like uh Chris and everything, it was funny. I'm gonna tell you something. When I booked the demo with you, the next day he actually texted me. I was like, "Who is this?" I was like, "Whose number?" Like he didn't tell me who it was. He texted me. He's like, "Hey, I got another friend who might be interested." And I'm like, "Great, who is this?" It was Chris. But did you reach out to him, letting him know that I finally booked it, or?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. How's he been? What's he been up to?
He got engaged.
Well, there you go. For sure.
I've seen him maybe twice since I moved out to Iowa and pandemic started, but he's been doing good.
Gotcha. Where did you say you were originally from? What?
So I grew up in Mount Morris, Oregon area, and then I moved down to LaSalle, Peru, and
That's
worked
right.
in
The South
Joliet.
Shore. Okay. Gotcha. That was when you were working for the railroad?
I still am, but I'm different location now.
Okay. Gotcha. Give me 1 second here. And then, so if you want to jot this down, just so that way you have record of what you're getting, you'll get an email as well too, but it's the homemaker plus 8. You're going to get the shears, and then the vegetable knife. So those 3 additional knives, and then the homemaker plus 8. And as promised, I'm also going to give you the can opener and the pizza cutter, because again, thank you so much, Austin. You have no idea how much this means to me. My goal is to take care of as many people as I can, and I always joke around and tell people, right? You might have this thought in your mind, you might not, but this isn't the only time you're ever going to hear from me. I guess you could say I'm not a one knife stand, right? So I got to tell you all the crappy dad jokes. And, just so you know how we're going to keep in contact, I'm not going to like blow you up, with 100 bajillion emails every single month or anything, but I always like to keep people in the loop. I send 1 email a month. It's not a sale email. It's usually like either knife tips. If there's like an upcoming sharpening event or upcoming show, you might catch me at. That's way closer to Dubuque, because you can find Cutco literally anywhere. I'm sure we're going to be, Illinois State Fair, Iowa State Fair. You're definitely going to see us there. So I just want to keep you in the loop, so that way you can count on me to take care of it moving forward. So thank you again so much. But the last couple things I'm going to need from you here in a second. So you said shipping is the same as the billing, and then what's the best phone number to put on the order? Was it the number I called you on?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Can I get that one more time?
815-973-8968.
And then I know I sent you the email. Can you give me that one more time?
YOUNKTSOME@gmail.
Okay. And then the address would be associated with the card is 1800 Highland Avenue.
Yep.
And then zip code for Burlington, Iowa.
52601.
Okay. And then on the card, does it just say your first and last name or first name initial?
Oh, let me find this stupid wallet.
Take your time.